Welcome to the Michele Roy Show.
Hello and welcome to another Michele Roy Show. I am so honored and privileged to have a very special guest today. Lia Valencia Key is the founder of Valencia Key Jewelry. She is not only an amazing person, full of light, her jewelries are also seen in the Oprah magazine, QVC, the Good Morning America, Mel Robbins, and so many others. But more than that, she's an amazing person with an amazing story that I would love to share with you. Her love, her light, and her positivity is infectious. Please join me for this podcast, and I can't wait to hear from you again from all the goodies that you're going to get from it. Well, welcome to another Michele Roy's podcast. I am so grateful to have a very special guest, Lia Valencia Key, all the way from the States. As you can see, her light is already shining brightly, and I'm just so grateful to have you here. And I wanted to start with asking you if you would love to just tell the listeners a little bit about your story, because I think
Yeah.
it's such a powerful story. So take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, honored to share my story in hopes that any hearts are inspired because, like, if you see me now, I'm sitting in all yellow, smiles and joy and light. But my journey didn't start that way. My journey started in the inner city, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in United States, in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods. I'm born to a single mother. I have two other siblings. So my mother was single with three children, and it was generational. My grandmother was born in poverty. Her mother was born into poverty. So um, this was a cycle that kept continuing in our family. And one of the most pinnacle moments that I always share is when my mother's bringing us home, me, my sister, my brother, and I from school, and there's a padlock on the door of this one bedroom apartment that we're living under someone's home, all four of us crammed in an apartment. And we get to the door, and there's a padlock on the door, which means a mother with three children has no place to take her children. So we are now homeless. This immediately sent us to a woman's homeless shelter. And I always like to describe the visual of the homeless shelter because I do black out tragedy and trauma. I kind of like try to forget it. But I remember the first day landing in the homeless shelter so vividly because it was a big, if you were, gym, we call it a gym, like a school room where everybody kind of collects. This big room, and inside this big room, there's cots. And if you're not sure what a cot is a metal, hard, fold out bed. So it's like hard and it's small. And these small cots are filling the gym room 1 foot away from each other. So if you can imagine, and one mother gets one cot for the entire family. So you have four beings crammed on this one small cot, and the whole room is filled with mothers and children. There's crying, there's sorrow, there's profanity, there's hopelessness, filling the room of what I call darkness. And in that moment, it was one of the most powerful points of my life that my mother looked down at her three children and she shared, "Your predicament does not determine your destiny." And I was around age 8, so super young. And I'd like to explain that because I didn't get it at that moment, but I'm 45 today and I'm able to share the power of that seed. And I share that because words are powerful. Words are seeds, and they may not grow immediately at that moment. They can grow 20 years later, 40 years later. So that seed of reminding her children in the midst of darkness that this predicament does not have to be your destiny was so powerful for me. But I'd love to say that my seed grew so quick, but it didn't. We stayed in the homeless shelter for years, and I start to become my environment. I start to become negative, using profanity. Everything I saw, I was doing. I was failing every grade in school that you can imagine. I love to say, we have lunchtime where, the food where you eat for kids. And I would say if that had a grade, I would be failing that. That's how bad I was doing. And the second pinnacle light I feel that was shined in my life was I was coming back from school to the homeless shelter. And I vividly remember my mother standing at the door of the homeless shelter, and I'm walking toward her, and she doesn't look happy. And so I get to her, and she asked me, Leah, do you want to be a follower or a leader? And I was very confused and perplexed because I'm like 10 now. I'm still young. And she said, because right now, Leah, you're following.
Mm.
And guess what? If you consistently follow, you're going to become everything you see around you. Or, Leah, you have a beautiful light inside. You have a divine whisper inside of you. And if you choose that light and that divine whisper, it will take you all the way to your destiny. And her last words to me in that moment was, Leah, you choose. And she walked off.
Mm.
Oh, it was so powerful to me because it was my first experience of understanding that I had choice. I did not know up until then. I really thought what I see around me is this is what we do. We speak this way. We don't take things serious. We do these things. But then my mother introduced this power of choice, and she introduced the power of my inner light, and that I had this within me that I could choose it. And from that very moment, I start to choose the whispers inside of me, the divine destiny calling to me and my light. And I went back to school, and I remember asking my teachers, how do I get better grades? How do I see beyond where I live? How, where, what? All these beautiful questions that start to expose more light in my life, walk me closer to my destiny.
Wow. That is beautiful. And you still radiate that. But like you said, it wasn't one day to the next, right? It was a decision that you had to make as well.
And
And
it's a consistent decision. So that
yes.
decision never stops. It's second by second. Like every part of our lives, we
Mm,
have the choice and the decisions consistently. And it's like, which one are you going to choose? And every choice you make is an action.
mm,
And if you choose light, and if you choose of getting outside of from the world, what the world is giving you, and you go inside to your truth, because truth is the light, biblically, right? If you get into your truth will always take you to your destiny. It may take a long time, but it will take you to your destiny.
I think it's beautiful is that you decided in that moment to make a choice, right? To go back to your teachers. You don't want to be failing the grades anymore. And you had to go against the grain. If everybody else was, like you're saying, everyone around you living in poverty, having the mindset of can't do anything better. And yet
Yeah.
inside of you, that little candle just seemed to have lightened up. And I think it's so beautiful because like you exude light and the color you choose is light. And it's just so beautiful because you chose to do that. And now you can also affect the life of so many other people, bringing that light. And I love it.
Yes, we
I
all
love
have
it.
it within us. Thank you. My mission is to be this visual, wearable, auditory here, like a reminder that the light is within us. It can get clouded, it can flicker,
Mm,
but we can choose to choose it every moment. And I guess the question is like, well, what is this light? Like, what do you mean? It's kind of metaphoric. Like, talk to me in plain terms. What is the light that I'm supposed to be choosing, Leah? Well, it is the positive direction of your truth.
mm,
It is counter of negativity and challenge and darkness. It is finding what's in your control and taking millimeter actions towards it. I love the word millimeter movements. I coined that because we can get into my story of how I start creating jewelry. But
please.
in creating jewelry, my mother, when I was So I started to choose this light, and it wasn't easy. When you tell the story, it seems automatic, but it's not automatic. It's years upon years of choosing and failing, and choosing and making the wrong choice, but choosing again the better choice, and these peaks and valleys. But my mother started to get really ill, and the predicament started to really overcome her. She had the power of voice, so she would speak the truth out to her children, but the world was overcoming her, and her predicament was overcoming her, and she started to get really ill. And one of the last conversations that I had with her, I chose my way all the way to making it to college. And when I say chose, there was so many obstacles in between to get to college. And one of the last conversations was my mother saying, Leah, oh, I see you shining. I see you radiating your light. I see you choosing your destiny, and it is so beautiful. And she handed me these little earrings. They were inexpensive, super inexpensive, but they were very symbolic because she said, always wear your earrings, Leah. Let them be a wearable reminder. Maybe when you're putting them on, maybe when you catch a glimpse of them in the mirror, but let them be a reminder that you always have light inside of you, no matter how dark the world gets. It is your power to consistently choose it. And I just became connected with this concept of wearable symbolisms to remind you of the truth when you need it the most. And my mother passed shortly after that. And I was just hand sketching jewelry just for me. I'm from poverty. I didn't even know how businesses were created. I didn't even know that was a thing that was possible. Like they just showed up. But I was hand sketching jewelry for me. Like, what would I want to wear to remind me of this part of the journey that I'm
Mm.
going through? And I did that for several years and still worked many different jobs, really following my heart of what brought me joy. And I found my way to working as a hair and makeup artist for QVC. QVC is international. It is a television network that sells all different beautiful items from entrepreneurs and business owners, big and small, on around the world on TV. And I found myself styling in the salon, and that was like a third light. I had many lights in between that got me there, but it's the third light that I share because I was now around dreamers, believers, doers, achievers, like people that just made it happen. And the concept of choice was just automatic to them. They were choosing the visions that they had inside of them. And I had the privilege to style them.
Mm.
So I had the privilege to be around their energy and talk to them and hear their mindset. And two beautiful hearts took me under their wing. Many people in QVC took me under their wing, but I mentioned two beautiful hearts, Vicky Sai, founder of Tatcha Skincare, and Jamie Kern Lima, founder of It Cosmetics and New York Times bestseller, Believe It and Worthy book. These beautiful women took me under their wing and allowed me to work with them and travel around the world and just see what was possible. And I start to see, as I styled, the last thing that anybody that I was styling would kind of do was say right before they were doing something really huge and no one could go with them. It was like, what bracelet am I going to put on? What necklace am I going to put on? What earrings? It was like this seal of courage, this armor of light and brilliance. And I start to think about my journey of the reason why I was around these beautiful hearts maybe wasn't fully but my talent, but it was truly about my light. And that I had been hand sketching these wearable symbols. It was quite serendipity to see the power of wearable truth and strength because my mother had told me years ago how these can be wearable reminders. So then I realized that I wanted to set out on a journey to bring these wearable pieces that individuals could wear in the midst of their brightest moment to remind them to keep shining and keep going, or in their most challenging moments, that if you can wear this from a young lady from poverty and homeless, if you can put it on, then whatever your dreams, whatever your challenges, it's possible to overcome it and get to whatever divinely right God has for you.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And it's such a journey. And I think for me, one of the things that I can hear you saying is that you kept going, believing, and making that choice even day up, getting, every single decision she made along the way and the different people that helped you. But you surrounded yourself with those that were speaking the truth, that were speaking light, that were speaking the possibilities. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times that's the hardest thing for us, isn't that we can get just like what you were saying about your mother, just the surroundings and different things just kind of take a hold of you, but you have to
Mhm.
really switch the flip to listen to the positive, to listen to the things that build you up, that inspire you, and ignite in you, hey, that creativity, sketching all
Yeah.
along.
Yes.
There's something beautiful coming there, and it is beautiful, the art that you create with through jewelry. And it shows like I'm dying to get my piece, by the way. It's coming, it's coming.
We ship international. Yay!
Yes, finally. But I think that's beautiful because for me, it's the same thing. I think jewelry has always been a meaning,
Yeah.
something that you really like to be able to show and hold on to them and just feel them.
Yes.
So yes, it's very, very nice. And to see that you got yourself out of what others would think, okay, homelessness. That's it. That's the end all, be all. But no, your story is so powerful because you overcame that, show that it's possible. You continue to shine your light so brightly to others. And not only that, you also have a very impactful business with the purse I see in the back as well, that you have people,
Yes.
it's from Africa, isn't it? That you're helping them.
Yes.
Do you want to
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you so much for that, because so Valencia means bravery and courage, and key is, we know that keys unlock. And my mission for Valencia Key is that anytime you get Valencia Key home with you, it is symbolic to remind you that you have the keys within to consistently unlock your light, consistently unlock your courage, consistently walk towards your destiny. This mission to me is like a center vessel of love, Valencia Key. So for those who can afford to purchase, they purchase, you bring it in your life, you wear it as this reminder of what's possible for you, but also a love vessel to when you purchase, that we are reaching back and we're touching individuals who actually need support in some way to bring their light out, who need encouragement. And Africa was and is dear to my heart because my father was actually from Angola. He wasn't in my life often, but when he would pop up in the midst of my poverty moments, he would say, I remember vividly, I think he came to visit in a homeless shelter or something like that. And he was like, oh, this is not like poverty. This is not like where I'm from. Now you go back to the villages of where Angola, where I'm from, or go back to a village in Africa where I'm from, and then you'll see poverty, right? And then I'm thinking, in the midst of this poverty that was the worst for me as a young child, like, oh, I wanna bring help to Africa in some way. It was just, as a young child, like I needed to find a way, if someone was in a situation as bad as mine or worse, I just wanted to find a way to be of help. And I guess a year ago, I finally got that opportunity. I think we're going on 2 years to go to Africa. I actually got to Ghana, and I got to see what my father was saying. The villages of Africa are challenged in a different way than what we consider. All struggle is struggle, but it's a different type of struggle, and there's a support that's needed in a big way. So I was praying for, how do I make some small dent, and I realized, like, oh, I can use our creativity. So I hand sketch designs of beaded bags. In Africa, culturally, beadwork, hand beaded work is an artistic cultural beauty around the continent. And I said, okay, well, we can work with these artists in the village, give them work, allow them to create, and this will help pay for schooling, support the community, support food, and uplift the village while bringing a beautiful handcrafted design of a hand beaded bag to America where we can wear, and it'll be this beauty that we could wear, but we also know that we're supporting someone that has a need and a talent at the same time.
Yeah, two in one. I think that's
2 in 1. How
fantastic.
good is it?
That's amazing. Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I wanted to touch back again on, the days that you struggled, because I'm sure there was plenty of days that were very
And I still
difficult.
struggle. I want to
I
say
know.
that. I don't want to cut you off because, like, life is still a struggle. I'm
Yes.
still in the trenches. I'm still a small business. I'm figuring out what business looks like. I just got the opportunity to attempt to hire someone to help support me. Friends have jumped in to lift this business up, but it's a struggle and it's just a new struggle. So I'm always in the trenches.
But yes, but even being in the trenches, and I can, like, from my what I can relate to is having to choose joy when I'm feeling pain so unbearable for me physically. So that is always a struggle, but I know that if I can switch my script for myself, I'm able to look at the good things that energize me, that makes me feel whole again. And I think for the listeners out there, what are some of the tactics that you do that are practical that they could also implement for finding joy on those tough days, which we all have?
Yes. Yes. Oh, don't we always have them? Oh,
Yep.
they're inevitable, right? But it's
Absolutely.
how we respond to them. So I love this so much. Okay. One that is very rudimentary. I created this collection called Rooted,
Mm.
and I'm showing the ring right now. And I created it in the midst of a storm. It was a big storm going around me, and but my inner spirit felt unexplainable joy and peace that surpassed understanding. And I was trying to figure out, like, I should be breaking down right now. What is this rise up of joy and peace, and how? And I start to realize the tools that I had been doing since a young child, and I decided every day and consistently decide to root into words that are action words, even when the predicament doesn't seem to be that way. So I've defined words for me. I'm going to be joy. I'm going to be love. I'm going to persevere. And these words have actions to it. Love is unwavering, it's kind, it's not a pushover, but it gives grace, right? It's welcoming, it's non-judgmental. That's an action that I can define for myself, and when I say I root in it, that becomes my foundation. So when my human self feels like it is walking out of love, or when the world is giving me something that is not love, then I have defined what I want to be. So then I call on what I said I am going to be. And then if I say I'm going to be love, if I've rooted in that, then that's what I need to grow. And if I grow out love, then what does love look like? Okay, it looks like I need to listen to someone fully. It looks like I need to not judge before understanding the whole situation. It looks like I need to protect myself within it. And so when you have these words that are actions that you have called yourself to be, even when the proof is not there, you can reach to them and say, when it's time that you need to call on them, you can reach and say, okay, so what does joy look like? Okay, joy for me looks like finding the solution to a challenge of what I can control. Joy looks like not focusing on the negative part of it that's already done. Joy acknowledges that this is horrible and says, okay, it's horrible. Now, what are we going to do? That's how you get into joy, because you start to control. When you can get whatever control that is possible for you in play, you can start to rise up a better feeling for yourself. Perseverance is a powerful word for me. Perseverance means like you've been knocked down many a times. It's a no, it's a fail, it's a you didn't get that, it's a no orders are coming in. Okay, but perseverance says, and then I get back up one more time. Perseverance says, I try a millimeter movement, the smallest action that I can do to see how I can change the possibility of bringing orders in. And these words will help guide you out of the trauma. The trauma will still be around you, but it will move you out of it. Another thing is I love music.
Mhm.
You know, I love a visual wearable symbol that I can touch and remind and speak and hold. And then I love to turn on music that speaks the truth into my life. And so I love a good gospel song. It is, I love all music. But when I am in a challenging moment, I throw on my gospel. And the gospel is going to speak light into my life to help encourage my spirit in methodical rhythms.
Yes, that's something I really like to do as well. I think it really, really helps just the shift inside. It's playing music. Gospel music will be great for me. And if I need a little extra I put Latin music and start moving
Oh, see,
around.
yes. Anything that's joyful, especially too if you're depressed, put on a joyful song. Like, and also what I learned from my grandmother, because she was also, you know, in poverty. So I would walk in and the ceiling's falling. But she would have little pearl earrings that someone had gifted her on, a beautiful necklace, little pressed clean shirts and outfits. And I'm thinking, like, Grandma, where are you going? One. And two, this around you, you got dressed. But she was like, I'm getting dressed for the Lord. That was her answer. Like, I'm getting dressed for the Lord. But it was so beautiful to me because you can adorn yourself out of the challenge. Like you don't have to look like what you're going through. And I think you talk about that in pain.
Yeah.
Like when you take intention to put your earrings on, put your necklace on, put your bracelet on, put a shirt that brings light on, that external action will affect the internal experience. I know it to be true.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with you. They're 100%. And I say, like, make my bed every single morning. They're non-negotiables. And getting dressed, even if it's like extremely late, like yesterday was my pajama day because I wasn't doing well
Yes.
energy-wise. But it was like before the end of the day, I still had to change my clothes. We went
Yeah.
to the gym, and that's where I go for my sauna. And just I was just like, I have to change. I'm not gonna go with pajamas there, so I changed my
Yeah.
clothes, and it just makes you feel energized again. So yes, put
Yes.
on these nice clothes with small things, but it makes a big difference. Exactly what you wear, and I like the fact that you're saying about when you feel it. I'm very much touch feeling as well, right? You're
Me
holding
too.
there with your ring on the rooted,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
just really roots you down. And the words that you were saying over yourself, speak light, speak words, and those words, perseverance, what is joy to me, what's love, it's so it's so relatable because those are all things that we have to face, right? Those are things that we have to say, what does love look like for me? And how can
Yes.
I know it now so that when I'm going through a hard time, I can tap into it? So that's beautiful.
Exactly. And then my, I guess, final thing to share. There are many more, but after you've controlled your controlled environment, because what I shared is your controlled environment, then you've got to come outside yourself and say, what's around me? Who is speaking into my ear? Who is speaking into my life? Who am I spending time with? Replay the conversations that are around you. Replay the phone calls that you have. If it is negativity, if it is a heavy bunch of sorrow, there's a difference between being there for your friend than is always sorrow every time we get on the phone. or it's always calamity and the sky's always falling and I don't know how I'm gonna do this and this is horrible. And or when you say something exciting, they're like, how you gonna do that? You know, if it's always opposition of darkness, you have to remove yourself. It is very hard to grow plants. I love nature. Here's the funny part. I don't like a lot of nature around my home because I love a very desert vibe, but I love looking at nature for inspiration of how we are as beings in this world because it gives us guidance, right? If you look at plants, they need sunlight to grow. There are some plants that grow in darkness. Some. There's a small percentage that grow in darkness. So I'm not saying that you can't grow in darkness, but most plants grow with a little bit of sunlight.
Yeah.
And most plants grow with a lot of sunlight and a lot of water. That's most, like many of us. Most of us grow with light and positivity and beautiful nourishment around us, like podcasts like this, great people that you're around. And don't risk the fact of trying to grow in the sea of darkness. It is going to be more obstacles for you. So if you find conversations and people in your life, and they could be dear loved ones and maybe even family that you can't remove yourself from, you have to find a way to curate the conversation. You have to find a way to remove the negative talk around you because that is what's going to be replaying in your mind. And you already got your own mind that you got to battle. You can't battle your mind, somebody else's mind, and then the world's mind. Looking at social media, it's too many obstacles that you're putting in your way. So start to consciously curate the words that are being spoken into your ears and your heart.
Yeah, that's exactly my last podcast was about that. Your joy squad, what are you listening to? How is that going to be helping you, motivating you? Otherwise, we get just stuck in a rut. But Leah, I know our time is actually short. So how can people connect with you and how can they avail of beautiful jewelry from Valencia Key as well? What is the best and easiest way?
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. I am honored for you to connect with my heart. On social media, I don't consider it followers. I feel that we are heart connected. So, one, I'd love for you to connect with my heart on social media. That is Valencia Key Design. And my personal connect with me, Leah Valencia Key. But most important, go to valenciakey.com, VALENCIAKEY.com. Share your email with me. We'll stay connected in heart. And I get to ship internationally. So there's a button that says click here if you're international. And you too can get a piece of Valencia Key to wear and share to be reminded that you have the light inside and all things are possible.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna put those on the notes below as well. And they're beautiful. I love the worthy one with the little
Yes.
joy as well. So it's like the
Yes.
two things that are very important. But Leah, thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate you. And listen, guys, subscribe, sign, pass it on this message to other people so they can find hope and inspiration as well. Once again, Leah, may God bless you and keep you in everything you do. And you're wonderful. Keep
You're
shining your
wonderful.
light.
I love you all. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you very much.
This was the Michele Roy Show.